There's a member of the school board whose name escapes me at the moment who explicitly said just recently that the idea of church-state separation is fictional, and he's offered to donate $1,000 to the charity of your choice if you can find it in the Constitution. And this is the sort of, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, so if you haven't listened to Nonprofits, you can go back. I won't reiterate all of it. It's the sort of word games that go on, and as Russell pointed out, the word Trinity doesn't exist in the New Testament either. It's a concept that has grown out of what was explicitly stated in the First Amendment, that the government shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or preventing the free exercise thereof. Well, those words don't say church-state separation, but that's what they mean.
And how do we know that that's what they mean? Because Thomas Jefferson, another person we're not allowed to discuss anymore, it would seem, clarified that point. He's the one that wrote that there should be a wall of separation between church and state. He specified this is exactly what he meant by that passage, so there can be no ambiguity here.
And he's not alone. There are quotes from the other founding fathers, and Madison said that the only valid, I'm going to get the quote wrong, but the only valid interaction government should have with religion is in settling disputes of a legal nature between religions. Even if Thomas Jefferson had never written that quote about church-state separation, this is the practical application of what the First Amendment must mean. It has to mean that, because anything else renders it meaningless and moot.
I put further clarification on this point in a video titled The Fifth Foundational Falsehood of Creationism.
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope something can, I don't know what can be done, the ACLU with the ACA, but hopefully something can be competed against this.
I would like to see a revision of this plan wherein we take the least credible people possible and put them in these positions of power and then have their decisions irrevocable for a decade. That doesn't make any sense, especially when it indirectly affects the rest of the country, because whatever decision some willfully ignorant dentist in Texas makes then establishes what the educational criteria for children in Maine or Vermont or Washington have to endure.
And I've been asked, I'll go ahead and let you go, Dave. Thanks a lot for the call.
All right, thanks.
I've been asked before, what's my position on churches' tax-exempt status? And for me, it's really simple. They should be taxed.
Yes.
They absolutely. And there's one very simple reason for it, and that is it puts the government in the position of sanctioning religions. Because when you go to apply for the tax-exempt status, if you're a recognized religion, you just get it. It's done. It's, okay, you're one of the recognized religions. If you're not one of the recognized religions, then you have to make a demonstration that you should be, which means the government is now in the business of determining which religions should be sanctioned and therefore get a tax exemption and which shouldn't. And that is the clearest violation of the First Amendment that I've ever seen. I have no problem at all with churches qualifying for tax exemptions in the way that any other nonprofit organization would, by having open books, by demonstrating that they are performing a valuable service in the public good. They can qualify as a charity, etc. They may have to keep that organization separate from the religious organization, but I'm not discriminating against religions. They can still apply for tax-exempt status, but giving it to them as a de facto, you're a Baptist church and we've sanctioned Baptists, so you get your tax exemption, that's a violation of the First Amendment, and it may never be rectified, or it may not be rectified in my lifetime, but it's something that should be. It's an appalling abuse of the system. Mm. We've got Shelley in Hinsdale.
Yep, that's me.
How are you, Shelley?
Not too bad. I just wanted to make a quick point. I'm an agnostic theist. It's kind of weird. It's like an echo. That religion needs to stay out of science class and politics. And science is shown to be foolish, and in politics it generally makes dictators. Faith should be a matter of the heart. If you're going to be religious, then you should stay away from dogmatic teachings, because they cloud your mind. They make you go bomb buildings. And trying to justify faith with science is also ridiculous, because by its very definition, God would actually be outside of the universe, so science can never prove it.
Okay.
Yeah, I concur. No argument.
Oh, and one more thing before I go.
If you say Baba Booey, I'll laugh.
DPR and Kirk 420 say hey.
Oh, we were going to play Kirk's song today, but the audio quality, I used it yesterday. The audio quality on it was just too low, and so I amplified it, and I forgot to bring the amplified version today. But I'll do it again on another day.
Kirk has a good impersonation video of aronra he should show sometime.
All right.
No,
Thanks a lot for the call, Shelley.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, so we got open lines. The telephone number's up on the screen. There's about 45 minutes left in the show. Evidently, we weren't getting the... I don't know what happened with the screened out call. Some people were waiting. So if you've been patiently waiting and then gave up, you can actually call in because it's cleared out.
Well, she mentioned DPR, and we do have a question from him. So if we don't have a call in at the moment, we should probably address that.
We can definitely do that. As a reminder, after the show's over, we get together and go to dinner at Threadgill's on Riverside. The show's on until 6 o'clock. We'll be down there around 6:30 or so. Please, you're welcome to come down and join us. These questions were sent in via email, and the phone's already lighting up, so we'll get to them quick.
Okay.
For you, Aaron, if evolution explains the origins of our morality, does that mean that our morality is hardwired into us? If so, does that imply that morality can, to an extent, be considered objective? And if that's correct, to what extent can social pressures or norms affect our morality?
Okay. Well, I'd intend to explore this a little bit more in depth, but we have calls coming in. So,
It'll take a while before they get queued.
As far as whether morality is hardwired into us, I think it's an easily verifiable fact that empathy is largely hardwired into us, or at least most of us. But the problem with it being objective is that variety happens in any population, and there are going to be deviant behaviors. In some degree, all of us exhibit deviant behaviors, probably in every possible direction. So I can't say that anything is hardwired. What is hardwired today, or what seems to be dominant in the population, might completely change if the factors change sufficient to make it so. The next question was that he asked in there. What was the other one?
Whether or not it was objective, and if it was, to what extent does social pressures and norms affect it?
Okay, well then I think we're done with that one. Go on to yours.
You sent one in for me as well. There are still some that argue that the Bible is the source of our morality. They're wrong. It may be the source of their morality, but not our morality. When it's pointed out to these people that the hideous moral code contained in the Old Testament, particularly Leviticus and Deuteronomy, they claim that that all changed with Jesus' death and that the New Testament contains an updated moral code. Obviously, this proposition ignores the Ten Commandments still apply and that it's the same God. Also, there's nothing in the Bible to indicate that God has changed his mind, and of course, there's Matthew 5:17 and 18. Could you comment on the idea that Jesus changed the divine moral code and that the code is contained in the New Testament? This gets back to but that's the Old Testament argument, which comes up all the time in both email and on the show. It's people who have, Christians in particular, who have finally come to an intellectual realization that, yeah, there is some gruesome, objectionable, outright offensive, and immoral acts and instructions in the Old Testament. It sanctions slavery explicitly. Who you can enslave, how much you pay for them, how long you can keep them, how to get around the rules for only keeping Jews as slaves for 6 years. It's
how old they can be and under what conditions you can marry them.
Yeah, it's not to mention all of the killing goes on. So these people come to this realization, okay, so I'd rather not have to deal with those objections in the Old Testament. So Jesus came and everything got better. Well, that's not really an accurate representation of the New Testament. First of all, if you chuck out the Old Testament, you chuck out every bit of anything that made the New Testament relevant. You no longer have anything that you can point to that you could have claimed as prophecy, even though we can dispute all day as to whether any of that was prophecy or whether or not it was accurate. But you get rid of, as you pointed out, the Ten Commandments. You get rid of Moses, who is referred to more in the in the New Testament than anybody except Jesus, I think. The traditional Christian Orthodox thing is that, our claim is that Jesus didn't circumvent the law. He fulfilled the sacrificial law, which was you know, he became the ultimate sacrifice. And so it was only those sacrificial laws that he supposedly eliminated, which means that everything else of the 613 commandments that would apply to Jews, et cetera, are still in there.